start the discussion really with looking at what happened at the end of the year, or happened after we were last together, shortly before the lame duck session succeeded in actually passing some additional tax legislation. I know we thought that was very much up in the air the last time we talked, but indeed there are some legislation did pass. It primarily relates to the pension system, to the retirement savings system, let's say. But they are some material changes. They are changes that both with respect to individuals and with respect to companies that are operating 401ks, 403bs, similar, those types of plans. Certainly things that you want to be aware of, things that you may need to take into account on the employer side. They are things that may actually require you to make some changes with respect to the terms of your plans. Most of these will be with future effective dates. So it's not necessarily something that you need to run out and worry about tomorrow because it's applicable back to the first of the year. On the other hand, there are some changes here. There's some changes that are going to be very much worth understanding. So with that, let's move on. Secure 2.0 was the key tax legislation passed in the lame duck session. And let's start with those provisions that really are going to affect individual retirement. Now, Secure 2.0, what ultimately became Secure 2.0 had actually been percolating for several years. It finally translated into actual legislation that passed the House in March of 2022. But was never really taken up in the Senate. There were some meetings in the Senate. There were some hearings in the Senate Finance Committee. And there was a sort of informal alternative to the House bill that was ultimately put forward by members of the Senate Finance Committee. And in fact, that is really mostly what became the Secure 2.0 Act that was embedded in the Consolidated Appropriations Act. There are 90 different retirement-focused provisions in here. We're not going to be able to touch on all of them, but there's a lot here to take into account. If you had used the March bill, the March 2022 bill, and perhaps focused in on that, there were a significant number of changes. And I think it really is, the March bill is an interesting historical document. I think all of us are going to find it easier to handle this in practice by simply going to the legislation that has been enacted. Now, I think the item that got the most attention and perhaps is of the most importance to at least the older individual participants in their IRAs, 401, any sort of qualified retirement plan, and not Roth, but traditional IRAs or traditional employer-sponsored retirement plans. Ultimately, we're going to move the required minimum distribution age out to 75, but not immediately.